And welcome back to the Y.E.S Longevity Podcast, where we give you insight on how to get fit, feel younger, and live better. I want to thank you for taking the time today to listen to what I have to say. It is hot out there, so hopefully you're getting to watch this in some nice air conditioning, right? That would be nice. We don't really have any thing to talk about what's going on at the facility right now. There's nothing going on. People are on vacation. People are staying away because of COVID-19. So we're not going to run any programs probably again until the fall. We always have our Jumpstart program for those people who need to get a little bit of a kickstart in their exercise again. It's a 30-day program. But right now we don't have too much housekeeping going on. It is that time of year. So let's get right into it. We are going to talk about barriers, hindrances, those things that keep people from exercising. It is difficult to stick to an exercise program, a regular exercise program. Sticking to a regular exercise schedule isn't an easy thing to do. I know I hear about it all the time, myself too. I will have challenges at times trying to stick to my program. But it's important and I know it needs to be done, so I am one person that kind of fits it into my schedule. So we're going to talk about some of the things. We'll talk about 5 things, 5 hindrances to exercise. Could be time, some boredom, maybe injuries, self-confidence, but we're going to go through 5 things that keep people away from exercise or being able to develop a consistent exercise program. So the first common barrier that I hear all the time is that I don't have enough time to exercise. And certainly setting aside time to exercise can be a challenge. It's a challenge for me sometimes. And I just have to walk outside my office and I'm right into the facility. All I need to do is walk outside and start lifting some weights if I want to. But it's a challenge, so I know what it's like. So what I thought I'd put together is a little bit of a strategy for you to be able to overcome this challenge. So what I'd like you to do is get a pen and paper and let's identify available time slots in your week where we can etch out some time to exercise. So you're going to monitor your daily activities for 1 full week. And we want to try to identify 3 to 5 time slots where you can perform some physical activity. Most people have time that they're not being productive, whether they're watching TV, scrolling through Facebook on their computer, maybe they're on their phones, or whatever it might be. We need to try to identify some times that you're not being productive in, and we'd be able to try to fit some exercise in, right? 30 minutes, exercise doesn't have to take a long time. If the program is designed correctly, you can take care of your strength or your metabolic or your cardiovascular training or both in a 30-minute time frame for sure. So let's try to identify some things. We do this in business as well sometimes. What we'll do is we'll actually write down our day, what we do, and we try to figure out times of the day that we're not using practically. Like we might find ourselves, every day at lunchtime we're scrolling through and we're on Facebook for 2 hours. We've fallen into that Facebook hole of just scrolling and clicking and looking and looking and looking, and that may not necessarily be the most productive thing you can do with your time as a business owner, unless maybe you're into social media marketing. So we would document some times that we're not being productive and see a trend or a pattern and say, okay, how are we going to change this? We're going to do the same thing with your exercise. We're going to try to document some times where we can get some exercise in. So if your days are packed and maybe the evening hours are busy, let's think about getting up 30 minutes earlier a few times a week to get some exercise in. Because some people are going to come back to me and say, hey, you know what, there's just no time in my day. I am just jam-packed from the minute I get up to the minute I go to bed. What can we do about that? Because that will come up. We need to start to think about making some time, etching some time in there, and that time might be getting up 30 minutes early. And certainly that's going to be an adjustment in the beginning. It's not easy to get up a half an hour earlier than you're getting up, and you might even force you have to get to bed a half an hour earlier. But if your goal is, if your why you want to exercise is strong enough, you can make these changes in your life. And you can make them slowly. Go to bed earlier, 15 minutes earlier, and then after a few weeks go to bed another 15 minutes earlier, and then start to etch back the time that you get up in the morning. Like I said, exercise doesn't have to take a lot of time. Because a lot of times I just go down into my basement and I get a solid 30-minute strength training workout in. Just 30 minutes, I know what to do, it's set up for me. I go, 30 minutes later, I'm done. I've done what I need to do in my strength training. And you can do the same thing with your cardiovascular work. You might follow a Tabata protocol, which only takes 3 minutes and 40 seconds. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Or you might try a little HIIT training, some high-intensity interval training, where you can get maybe a little bit of strength work in there and get some cardiovascular work, or just get cardiovascular work. So again, it doesn't need to take a lot of time. So the second thing that I hear a lot is that exercise is boring. Exercise is boring. Well, it's only natural to grow weary and boring of doing the repetitive workout, the same workout, day in and day out. Okay, especially if you're going at it alone. But exercise doesn't need to be boring. We can choose different activities. We can choose activities that you like or maybe you might be interested in. And it's important that you actually change those activities, because exercise really is overloading or progressively overloading the systems. So if you're going out every day and just walking them 3 miles, right, which is great, it's good activity, but if that 3 miles is taking you the same amount of time every single time you go out there, it's really not considered exercise. Exercise is really considered more of activities because you're not overloading your systems. So for example, in strength training, if you're doing the same circuit, going in your basement and doing the same lifts that you've been doing over and over again, not only does your mind get bored, but your body gets bored, and you no longer get results. That's why you might not be getting results, because you're not changing or having a system or a plan to changing your strength training program. So you want to try to vary your routine, especially strength training, about every 3 to 6 workouts. When I say workouts, about every 3 to 6 weeks. So maybe once a month you decide, okay, the first of the month, each month I'm going to change my strength training program and decide what the changes need to be. Maybe you need to get some varying in your aerobic or anaerobic activities. So sometimes you might walk, sometimes you might run. Maybe sometimes you swim, sometimes you cycle. Sometimes you do some interval work. Sometimes you're going to go longer and a little bit slower, and sometimes you're going to go faster and shorter. But you need to try to change this up a little bit. Not only will it help with you being bored, okay, it'll also help your body get more results. You can always try the buddy system, because buddy system definitely can work. So try to exercise with a friend, a relative, a neighbor, a co-worker, whoever it might be. That's going to help you enjoy some of the camaraderie, some of a group experience, and it's going to help you stay compliant, because you're going to push each other. You might not necessarily push each other intensity-wise. You're going to push each other to try to meet and get it done, okay? And finally, hey, step outside your box here a little bit, okay? Learn some new skills while getting in a workout. Maybe check out something different. If you're going to a large box gym, check out a different exercise class. If you maybe play a different sport or go to a recreation center, try something different. Try some different things to expand those activities that you possibly could do. Because doing different things like this, maybe different things, different time of the years. Like in winter comes, I don't run outdoors in the winter time, so I try to do some different things. In spring, summer, and fall, I definitely do some outdoor running because I'm training for a race. But maybe this winter time, you're indoors, or the outside, you're doing some cycling, or maybe you're doing some walking, maybe you're doing some hiking, maybe you're doing some swimming. Whatever it is, switch it up a little bit, okay? Third thing is, and this might be one of the more difficult things, are that I'm self-conscious about how I look. And I know, because this happens to me too, one of the most difficult things to do is to walk through the door of a gym. It's extremely difficult. I even have an idea of what I'm doing. And if I go into a facility, if I might be on vacation, I might be traveling, I go into a different facility and I go to work out, I feel a little unconscious, self-conscious about it. I feel a little, awkward about what I'm doing, and I know what I'm doing. So you can't let this get you down. You can't get down on yourself. Okay, you need to remind yourself. I remind myself, hey, you know what you're doing. You're fit. You know what you're doing. You need to remind yourself that you're going into the facility to improve your health, improve your level of fitness, to improve and get to a specific goal. Think about how much stronger you're going to feel after you work out, how much more cardiovascular fit you're going to be, how you're helping your health. So those are the things you need to try to get focused on as you're going into a facility if you might feel uncomfortable. A couple other things you can do is you can try to not exercise when the facility is busy, right? Go maybe in mid-afternoon or later in the evening or really super in the morning. Go sometimes where you know that the facility is not real busy. You could consider investing in some equipment for at home, although it is very difficult to work out at home. So you may not know what to do or how to do it. So a couple things you could do: maybe hire a coach to come to work out with you in your home. Maybe try some remote coaching. For example, what we do, so we do some remote coaching. We don't actually go to the person's home, but we do some Zoom calls where we coach, and there's an app that your program is on. So you're getting the expertise of the coach, and you're still able to work in an environment that you feel comfortable in, your own home. Or if you go to a facility, you feel comfortable, you know what you're doing because you've had someone show you and tell you what to do and how to do it correctly. Always keep your eye on your goal. Focus on your future. Praise yourself for making the commitment for your health, right? Give you good self-talk, right? And remember that as you become more fitter and more comfortable with exercising, your self-confidence is going to likely go up and you're going to improve. And you may work out at home and all of a sudden decide you can go to a facility. Or you might be working with a coach at home and they say, you know what, let's take this to a facility. So just keep some positive talk in there, because what we say to ourselves really can change how we feel about ourselves. So positive talk. Number 4 for today is I'm too tired to exercise after work. That is not uncommon at all. Certainly, if you put in a full day, whether you're sitting at a desk all day, you're out there doing some kind of construction work, you can be tired at the end of the day. But you have no energy to exercise. But without energy, exercise, you're not going to have energy. So you need to have exercise to have energy, but you don't have energy to exercise. I think I got that out right. It's a vicious cycle, but we need to break that cycle, right? You need to think of physical activity as one of the best gifts you can give yourself. Over time, exercise will help you improve your sleep and your energy level and give you some energy. So maybe you need to try to start off slowly. Maybe not try to etch out 30 minutes of time to get some exercise in. Maybe you need to think about this, because I know that typically when someone exercises, they feel better and they have more energy. So let's start exercising in the morning. Before I talked about getting up 30 minutes earlier, maybe you're only going to get up 10 to 15 minutes earlier. If you have some equipment at home, you can jump on the treadmill and get on a bike. Maybe go outside for a brisk walk this time of the year, right? But get some movement in right there in the morning. And let's expand that movement over time. If it's 5 or 10 minutes, let's try to get it to 30 minutes over time, adding 5 minutes every week or so till we get to 30 minutes. And then we can really start thinking about exercising in a time frame rather than just getting some movement and activity to help us feel better and have more energy. Throughout your day, try to get some movement in. Just have a pair of walking shoes with you at your desk, wherever you might be. Even if you're out there working on a construction site, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but 15-minute break, go for a little walk. Not only is it going to help you feel better, getting some blood flow, but it's going to help clear your mind. So take a walk at lunchtime. When you get home from work, don't just go in the house and start doing some stuff. Get outside and take a walk. Maybe even take a walk after dinner, okay? But you need to be prepared for this, okay? You need to think about this and just start getting some movement into your life. And then you'll start to, in the beginning it might be exercise because you're not used to doing it. You might be getting out of breath. But then over time we can think about creating a much more structured exercise program. Because exercise is going to give you energy. I know it happens all the time. I have people that exercise at night and they say they can't go to sleep because they're all hopped up from their exercise. So if we can get it in a little bit earlier in the day, start your day out with some, you might find yourself with the energy and it might become a habit. And then you'll be happy that you did it. And then 5, I'm too lazy to exercise. I lack motivation. The M word, motivation, right? The reality is only you can motivate yourself. And your motivation really can only come from your inside, what you want to do, your why it is you want to exercise. And that's really where your motivation comes. But there are some little things that we can do to help you feel good about yourself, to help you stay motivated. So we want to try to set realistic expectations. We want to try to set some smart goals. We don't want your goals to be too high. So smart goals are very specific, they're measurable, they're attainable, they're relevant to what you're trying to accomplish, and they're time bound. So if you set some small goals, okay, it might be, I'm going to go to bed 15 minutes earlier, or I'm going to get up 15 minutes earlier, or I'm going to walk at lunchtime, or I'm going to start a strength training program. It's like, okay, this week I'm going to go to bed 15 minutes earlier. It's smart to do that, right? It's measurable. You have a time frame. You can do that. It's attainable. It's relevant to trying to accomplish what you want to do, and it's time bound, meaning we're going to do this for 1 week. And at the end of the week, once you've been able to do this, go to bed 15 minutes earlier, you can start to feel good about yourself. And now we can build on that. Maybe the next week we just decide to do it again, or maybe we try to go 20 minutes earlier. So by setting some very small goals, okay, you will become you'll feel better as you achieve those goals, okay? So if we can make them achievable, you will begin to start to feel some momentum. So maybe tomorrow you're going to say, when I get home from work, I'm going to take a walk around the block. So every day this week, and I get home from work that it's not raining out, I'm going to walk around the block. Probably even better, just say I'm going to walk around the block 3 days this week when I get home. And then as you feel better because you're able to do that, next week maybe you build it to 4, maybe you build it to 5. Maybe you decide to stay to 3 days and try to go twice around the block. But whatever it is, that is going to help you build momentum by doing that, okay? The other thing is to think about, don't work against nature. Don't work against yourself. Plan your physical activity at times of the day when to feel more energetic, or you have more energy to do something, when you're not quite as lazy. So don't try to exercise at a time of the day where you just feel like this is never going to work because I'm really definitely don't have any energy. Let's find some times where you might have a little bit more energy and try to get this done. And finally, you really need to try to schedule exercise into your day. Make physical activity excuse me, a part of your regular day, a part of your regular weekly schedule. Put it on the calendar. Say on Sunday I'm going to figure out my week's exercise or whatever it may be, and physically schedule it in there. When you schedule it in, you're more likely to do it. When you do this, you can also invite a friend to exercise with you. That buddy system always helps out. They're going to be able to say, okay, let's go, Chris. We're exercising now. Okay, Chris, meet me over here because it's time to go do our strength training, whatever it might be. That buddy system is going to help you stay accountable. So there you have it. 5 barriers that we hear and see all the time, right? I don't have exercise. It's boring. It's I feel self-confidence. I'm not motivated. I'm just too tired after work to do all this stuff. There's 5 things that you need to try to overcome. If those things are happening to you, stop your exercise program. Try some of these tips. See if they can help you get over the hump, get started. If you want my help, I'd be more than happy to help you. Give me a call. Send me a message on Facebook, whatever it is, stop by, and maybe I can help you get over some barriers. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me today. It's always a pleasure to try to give you some knowledge on how to get fit, feel younger, and live better. Thanks again. Everybody stay safe, stay cool, because it is hot out there right now, and I will see you again next week.